What is happening, J Game Dude here, and I'm sure we all have some Star Wars games that we like from our childhood, from the past that we played a lot of, especially on the couch with friends and things like that. If you do have any of that sort of game, put them into the comments below, whether it be, Episode 1 Racer, and for myself personally, it was Republic Commando, but I digress. Now we have the release of the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, which has the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 from Pandemic Games, which unfortunately were shut down, but also did games like Mercenary back in the day on the PS2 and Xbox. That was a incredibly fun game where you could, you do missions for allies, and then you could make your allies your enemies by just constantly blowing them up and then making them aggressive and things like that. But yeah, incredibly fun game, lots of fun. And so effectively what we now have is a really, really bad launch for a classic game. So people who like playing Battlefront obviously are going to be playing the multiplayer, and there's two ways to play the multiplayer, as there has been in the past. You would either pop online and play with people over the internet, or you'd play on split screen. And if you had like the original Xbox, you could do things like system link, so you could link up multiple Xboxes so that you can have, rather than 4 people on one TV, you could have 8 people across 2 TVs, that sort of thing. System link was a very, very useful feature, and I did not make use of it, unfortunately, because I didn't know a lot of people, nor actually have a lot of friends in school that had Xboxes. It was more so everyone had a PS2 as a DVD player, effectively. Though, with that being said, this is one of those launches that should just never have happened and should have just been delayed. So Aspyr is known for doing releases of older titles. So for example, when I said Republic Commando, I think they were the ones who did the PS4 sort of re-release of that classic Star Wars game. Yeah, I was about to say SpongeBob, but I was like, nah, that ain't right. That classic Star Wars game. So now there's a bunch of bugs, crashes, and there was, I should say, as of me recording this, they have added more servers, but there was only 3 64-player servers for 10,000 players. And that's pretty bad, to be completely honest. Like, that's not it. I love the quote here, though, Star Wars reference, but the Classic Collection was meant to bring balance to Battlefront, not destroy it. You were meant to bring balance to the Force. Goddamn. Anyway. And we also have some very interesting names for people who are on Steam. So let's just have a quick look at some choice quotes here. So we have probably one of the worst launches of all time, writes Steam user Dinkelberg. I'm sure the game is letting go with a few Dinkleberries itself. I feel like, sorry, Dingleberries. None of us can get into a game, and there are only 3 servers. Similar complaints appear endlessly, so that's quite a lot. Don't waste your 2-hour refund window till confirmation of a fix. Okay. Currently, game is totally unplayable, even if you manage to get into a server, players cannot spawn and things like that. So the multiplayer and the online is the part that's completely broken, though it does seem like people are able to kind of play the single player. However, there is another big mix-up or mess-up with the game itself regarding just playing the game at all, which is that the controls are also completely messed up. So you kind of need to map your own controls, and if you're playing specifically on PC, that's why I'm using the PC Gamer article here by I should have said this at the top, by Joshua Wallens. The reason why I'm using a PC Gamer article is because in order to really even be able to play the game on PC, you actually need to plug in a controller. Because it's mapped around to like controller controls as opposed to binding them to the keyboard and things like that. So that's incredibly unfortunate. And it costs 35 USD. I didn't actually know that because I'm not in the US, but it is what it is. Multiplayer doesn't work unless you're able to get into one of the 3 servers that has 64 slots. That only leads to about 192 players, yeah, something like that. and there's 10,000 people wanting to jump in at launch. They have added more. I can definitely say that for certain. And Battlefront 1 had 5 dedicated servers. Okay. It's not many, but it's not adequate enough for people to jump in, to be completely honest. Here we go. Here was another thing. I totally forgot about this. Thank goodness it's in this article, so I could actually talk about it. But the game has completely ballooned in size from its PS2 or Xbox sort of release, because like PS2 and Xbox games were on DVD, and I think DVDs only had up to 8 gigabytes of space. So we have 2 games here. Possibly you'd think a maximum of 16 gigabytes would be the actual space required for the game. On PC, it's sitting at about 62, though I think that's up to 70 now, I think, roughly speaking. It says 60. We'll go with the 62.87 gigs here. I think on PS4, if I jump into the store, I think it was like saying about 30 to 35 gigs. So I think it's specifically the PC version that's like really ballooned in size, but it is still quite big, despite the fact that like there is quite literally no reason to be as big as it is in terms of size. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have like, terabytes and terabytes of space, and that 60 gigs is nothing really to them. But even so, this game just should not be this big regardless. So there are a few kind of main big issues here at launch, and just how messed up it is, because again, people who want to play this game are mostly going to want to play it for the multiplayer. For those of us that are more than happy to play on the couch, I mean, that's just us really, isn't it? Bringing back screen cheating, which is looking over the other person's screen to see where they are so you can find and kill them, or things like that. But yeah, this is a really, really unfortunate situation, and Aspire should have done better. Though in saying that, this definitely does feel like a cash grab in every sense of the word, given that EA did try to do Battlefront and Battlefront 2 in a very different image that everyone just hated, and it did not serve the purpose that everyone wanted from the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2, which again, Pandemic did. Rest in pepperoni there. But yeah, that is just really an unfortunate situation for all Battlefront fans, and I was actually wanting to jump in myself, but looking at how things are, I'm just going to wait and see how updates go before we can see a solid launch, and then I might choose to get the game and maybe play with my little brother or something like that. So with all that said, do let me know about your thoughts about this whole situation in the comments below, whether it be about the size, whether it be about the online stuff, whether it be about the controls being sort of mapped incorrectly for PC and things like that. Put them all into the comments below. And also just your thoughts about the situation in general. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year. And with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.